Good evening. So in the previous class, we have been discussing on the Bode plot. We have started with Bode plot, and we have seen few things. We have also found that there are two major things to be understood in Bode plot. One is magnitude plot, another is phase plot. So all these things has been discussed in the previous class, and we also have seen few more things. So in the process, we have completed that how the Bode plots has to be represented and all we will be seeing. Now we are discussing on the frequency domain representation, and we have seen the correlation between time and frequency, and we have also seen bandwidth, omega r, and all those parameters. So proceeding further, so we can understand, we have also done some problems so based on those things, and we understood that how the plot for Bode has to be done when it comes with magnitude and with respect to the phase. So we will continue further with that, and we'll understand still in detail how this can be further carried out. So in the previous class, we have been discussing on Bode plot, logarithmic plot. We know that it is a frequency semi-log graph sheet. You have to draw that, and it is a graphical illustration. And we have seen the corresponding equations, and we know that two plots are there. One is called as magnitude plot, and another is phase plot. The corresponding equations for GH also we have seen, and the magnitude and phase corresponding equations also we have seen in the previous class. 20 log k plus 20 sigma I is equal to 1 to p, etc. So as well as in phi we have seen summation of I is equal to 1 to p tan inverse of omega ti. So this is the general equation which we have seen for magnitude and phase. And then we have seen that the transfer function j omega comprises of four factors. The first one was the constant gain k, and poles and zeros at the origin and poles and zeros at the real axis, complex conjugate poles. We also have discussed in the previous class regarding the constant gain k, and where we have seen that the logarithmic gain for a constant k is 20 log of k. These all things you should remember when you are doing a problem. And phi of omega will be 0 for a constant k, and we also seen that poles and zeros at the origin. So when you have those kind of process, you have to take y of j omega 1 by j omega, and you get it as phi of is minus 90 degree. Phase angle will be minus 90 degree when they are at the origin. As well as we have in the previous class we discussed about multiple poles at the origin, as well as the its corresponding amplitude, and so the magnitude and phase component, and multiple zeros also we have discussed. And this is what the plot we obtained in this case, that is the second case, poles or zeros at the origin. So this is what the plot we have obtained in the previous class. So further moving on, in today's class we are going to discuss upon the third one, that is poles or zeros on the real axis. So we will understand this thing. So when we are considering poles or zeros on the real axis, you have to take y of j omega. When it is on the real axis, you get y of j omega is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus j omega t. So this is what you get it when the poles and zeros are on the real axis. So when the poles and zeros are at the origin, you have seen that it will be 1 divided by j omega. Y of j omega is 1 by j omega when it is at the origin. So when the poles and zeros are on the real axis, you get y of j omega is equal to 1 by 1 plus j omega t. So when you take the logarithm for that, 20 log of y of j omega, you will get it as minus 20 log of 1 plus j omega t. And further we have to continue solving that. So if omega t is less than 1, so we are considering that omega t less than 1, then it will be 20 log of y of j omega, and it will be minus 20 log of 1, and you will get it as 0 dB. So if omega t is less than 1, you will get 20 log of y of j omega as 0 dB. And if omega t is greater than 1, then you will get it as 20 log of y of j omega as minus 20 log of j omega t. From this equation you can write it that. And when you take it further, it will be minus 20 log of omega minus 20 log of t. So this is what you get it. So you can just understand those things. These are the equations what you generate when you have the parameters when poles and zeros are on the real axis. So further moving on, the low frequency asymptote will be a straight line of magnitude equal to 0 dB, and a high frequency asymptote will be a straight line with a slope of minus 20 dB per decade. So this is what you should understand. Will be when you solve the problems, no, these all things will be required. So the low frequency asymptote is a straight line of magnitude equal to 0 dB, and when you go with the high frequency asymptote, they will be having a slope of minus 20 dB per decade. So the intersection of two asymptotes, when you take the intersection of two asymptotes, it will be at omega is equal to 1 by t. The frequency where the asymptotes intersect is called as the break frequency, or it is called as the corner frequency. So this is what the frequency where the asymptotes intersect. So you can see that you might have also seen previously, you have understood about the asymptotes, and you can see that the frequency at which the asymptotes intersect is called as the break frequency, or it is also called as the corner frequency. So this is what you can understand. We have been discussing about these things before as well. So we have seen here the poles and zeros on the real axis, and you have taken this equation. Then we have taken the logarithm for that. Omega t greater than 1, you got as minus 20 log omega minus 20 log t. Omega t less than 1, you get it as 0 dB. So you should remember all these things when you solve the problem. So further, if this is what with respect to the magnitude, we have to also understand with respect to the phase angle phi of omega. Phi of omega is taken as angle of y of j omega. When you take the angle of this y of j omega, that is 1 divided by 1 plus j omega t, when you take the angle for that, you get it as tan inverse of omega t. So you will be getting it as tan in phi of omega will be tan inverse of omega t, and for 0 or real axis, y of j omega will be y of s is equal to 1 minus ts, and when you take the so when you consider zeros, so let us consider that zeros are on the real axis. So when the zeros are considered to be on the real axis, you get y of s is equal to 1 minus ts, and you take the logarithm for that. 20 log of y of j omega is equal to minus 20 log of 1 plus j omega t. So when you do that, you can see that 20 log of y of j omega is equal to 20 log of 1 plus j omega t, and you have to see the condition omega t less than 1 and omega t greater than 1. So this we are doing it for zeros placed on the real axis. So when omega t is less than 1, you can say that 20 log of y of j omega will be equal to 0 dB, and when omega t is greater than 1, you can say that 20 log of y of j omega is equal to 20 log of omega plus 20 log of t. So this is what it happens when you are taking for zeros or you are taking for the poles. So when you do the problems, no, these things you have to keep in your mind. So when zeros are on the real axis, you have to what you have to do, and when the poles are on the real axis, what has to be done. So this is when the zeros are on the real axis, you get it as 20 log of y of j omega is equal to 0 dB, and when 20 log of y of j omega, you can get it as when omega t greater than 1, you get it as 20 log of omega plus 20 log of t. So low frequency, when you consider that 0 should be means omega should lie between 0 and 1 by t, so 0 less than omega less than or equal to 1 by t, you consider the asymptote is a straight line of magnitude equal to 0 dB, and the high frequency, at high frequency omega greater than 1 by t, you can say that asymptote it is straight line with a slope of 20 dB per decade. So when the frequency is high, you can observe that there will be a slope of plus 20 dB per decade. So this is what we have done the cases before also. So you have seen that in the previous class regarding this, that is when the poles and zeros are at the origin. So this is how the plots will come for you if you take the magnitude plot and if you take the phase plot. So if you consider as of today when we discussed, you can see that the poles and zeros are on the real axis. So when you can think that poles and zeros are on the real axis, you can say that you get all these equations, and you get phi of omega is equal to angle of this, it will be tan inverse of omega t. So when you go for the plot for poles and zeros on the real axis, you can see that the plot will be obtained in this form. That is, you can see first you will be having at till 1 by t. If you see that till 1 by t, it will be without any slope, and here you can see that you are having a 20 dB slope. So here also the same thing, you can see that there is a plus 20 dB and minus 20 dB slope. So when you corresponding, this is the first plot which I have shown you is the magnitude plot, and the down portion you can see this is the phase plot. So this is called as the phase plot. In magnitude plot, you will be taking 0, 5, 10 like that in the y-axis, where it is gh j omega, and in the case of phase plot you have to take the angle like minus 45 minus 90 or plus 45 plus 90 like that. So you will be taking the angle in the y-axis for phi of omega in the phase plot, and in the magnitude plot you will be taking 0, 10, 20 like that. So here this is what you have to draw it on the semi-log graph sheet. So you can see that 0.1 t, 1 by t, 10 by t, that is what you can see because this is plotted on the logarithmic scale. So this is what the plot you obtain when you consider poles and zeros on the real axis. So this is what you have to understand. You can just make a note of these things. Already you have seen these things. I have sent you the document. You can have a look on that. Okay. So further, so we have seen that when the poles and zeros are at the origin, your plot will be appearing in this form, as I have shown you before. And when the poles and zeros are on the real axis, your plot will be having some slope and all, and your phase plot will be in this form. When now let us think that the complex conjugate poles and zeros. So if the poles and zeros are the complex conjugate poles and zeros are there, so the function will be y of j omega is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus 2 zeta divided by omega n j omega plus j omega by omega n whole square. So this is what the function you take when complex conjugate poles and zeros are there, and let us see that how it is going to be. So as we have discussed before, you know that u is equal to omega by omega n, which is called as a normalized frequency. So understand carefully. If you have any doubts, you can discuss with me. So we are taking now complex conjugate poles and zeros. So y of j omega is 1 by 1 plus 2 zeta omega n j omega plus j omega by n whole square. So u is what? As we have seen in the previous class also, u is omega by omega n, which is called as the normalized frequency. So here so when I take y of ju, so my function will convert in this form, that is 1 by we are discussing here regarding the complex conjugate poles and zeros. So here when you take y of ju, you get it as you know that just now I have explained u is equal to omega divided by omega n. So I am not using omega by omega n. In place of that I am going to use u. Okay, so u is omega by omega n. So what I will get here, y of ju is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus u whole square plus j 2 zeta u you will get. So let us take the logarithmic magnitude for that. So when you take the logarithmic magnitude, 20 log of y of ju. So I am taking the logarithmic magnitude 20 log of 20 log y of ju will be equal to this side also. So 20 log of 1 divided by 1 minus u square plus 2 j2 zeta u, you will get it. So once you complete it, you have to proceed further. So this function can be also written as minus 20 log of, see it's in the denominator. So I can just write it as minus 20 log of 1 minus u square plus 2 plus j2 zeta u. So as we have been discussing before in the conditions for here, since we have taken u here, so let me just take that u is less than 1. So as we can see that when you take 20 log of y of ju, you get it as 0 dB. In the previous case also you might have seen the same. And when you take u greater than 1, you can see that 20 log of y of j omega is equal to minus 40 log of u, or you will get minus 20 log u square. So that is what the two things you will get with respect to the magnitude. So this is with respect to the magnitude. Similarly, we have to also go with the phase angle. So you know that the phase angle is denoted as phi of omega. So when I take phi of omega as the angle of y of j omega, so you have to use the tan, you will get it as tan inverse of this function, you'll get it as minus tan inverse of 2 zeta u divided by 1 minus u square. So you should understand that from where we are writing all these things is we have studied in the first class this all things, that is summation of I is equal to p tan inverse of omega ti minus n. So based on this equation we are writing all these things as of now. So here you get it as minus tan inverse of 2 zeta u divided by 1 minus u square, and u is less than or equal to 1. So when you further simplify that, you will get it as minus 180 degree plus modulus of this for u greater than or equal to 1. So you have two conditions. When u is less than 1, you get minus tan inverse of this function, and u greater than 1, you will get minus 180 plus tan inverse of this one. So this is what you have seen the 4 conditions for a constant k. You have also seen when the poles and zeros are at the origin. You have also seen when the poles and zeros are on the real axis, and now we have just completed the complex conjugate poles and zeros. So that is what you get all these equations. So based on the problem which you get, no, you have to check that which one, whether it is poles and zeros at the origin, or whether it is on the real axis, or it's a complex conjugate. All those things you have to make a check on that, and you have to also see that whether u is less than 1 or u is greater than 1. All these things we'll be seeing in the problems. Okay, so here in Bode plot, this concept is very important for you to understand. That is called as the gain and phase margin. So the gain and phase margin is very important. So let us discuss about gain and phase margin. Before that, I want to know that is there any doubt for the previous things, whatever we have discussed? Please go through those things. Go through the things which I have discussed just now. You have all the materials with you. Go through that, and if you have any doubts, you can discuss with me. If it is clear, you just let me know that it is clear. We will proceed further. So is that clear for all of you till here? We have seen all the 4 cases, and is that clear for all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. This you understand carefully, which I am going to discuss now. That is gain and phase margin, and we need this gain and phase margin when you plot it in Bode plot. So understand these things properly. So the gain margin is found by the phase plot. So we have 2 things here. One is called as a gain margin, another is called as a phase margin. So the gain margin is found by using the phase plot to find the phase crossover frequency omega p, where the angle of GH omega is minus 180 degree. So here gain margin, how we can find out? As one example I will show you, it will be clear for you. One problem example I can show you. See here, you can see that this is how the plots will come for you when you draw the Bode plot. You can see here, here I have put the phase margin, here I have put the gain margin. So you can understand that you need both the plots. This line which goes top, it is called as a magnitude plot, and that line down here, this is the phase plot. So you can see that the scale here, it is 20, 40, 60 like that, but in the other side you can see that it is 140, minus 140 degree, minus 160 degree, minus 180 degree. So this is what you get it, and you get the entire plot. This we have to draw it on the semi-log graph sheet. So you can see down the omega variations as 0 0.1, 1, 10, 100 and all. So this is what you have to do. This entire plot is called as the Bode plot. Okay. So we will, in order to find the gain margin and phase margin, is found by using the phase. So both the plots you have to draw simultaneously. That is the magnitude plot as well as the phase plot. So once you draw the both the plots, then only you can find the gain margin as well as the phase margin. So gain margin is found by using the phase plot to find the phase crossover frequency omega p, where the angle of GH j omega is minus 180 degree. And at this frequency, the magnitude plot is looked into to determine the gain margin, and you will get the gain margin there. which is the gain measured with respect to 0 dB. So it will be clear when you just do it in the real time with problems. So I have an example here that also I will discuss for you. So here gain margin, what you can say that it is found by the help of, you know, that two things you will be drawing. One is called as a magnitude plot, another is called as a phase plot. So you have to compare it in a single figure. You have to draw that in a single graph sheet, where semi-log graph sheet, where you have to put dotted lines. You have to take from the crossover, like you can see that. I will show you that. So first let me just tell you the definition for this, and which is the gain measured with respect to 0 dB axis with a uh, conversion opposite to the measure of the gain. So after that, if you understand what is phase margin is found by using the magnitude curve. So see, to find out gain margin or the phase margin, you need the both the magnitude as well as the phase plot. Okay, then only you can find out this gain margin and the phase margin. So when you go for the phase margin, it can be found by using the magnitude curve to find the gain crossover frequency omega g, which is where the gain is 0 dB on the phase curve. At that frequency, the phase margin phi m is difference between the phase value and 180 degrees. So let me just take you through this figure. It will be clear for you. So this is what you have to understand. So you can see that this plot, it is the magnitude plot, and this one is the phase plot. So here you can see that we, as I have shown you in the problem as well, we are going with the gh j omega on the y-axis. Here we will be going with phi of omega, that is the angle. Okay. Now what you have to do here is crossover you have to see. Now you can see that the you are going with the positive gain margin. See, I am going to discuss both, two are there here. One is positive gain margin, another is negative gain margin. So understand this carefully. You have positive phase margin as well as negative phase margin. So means your phase margin will be a negative value. Okay. So here now what I have told you till now, you are going to have two plots. One is called as a magnitude plot, another is called as a phase plot. So you need to complete the entire problem in order to find out this gain margin and the phase margin. You need to draw the entire process, all the magnitude points you need to mark, all the phase points you need to mark, and complete the figure. After completing the figure, you have to find out this. So understand carefully what it is, what I am going to say here now. That is a phase positive gain margin, means here this point, and the positive phase margin is this point. Okay, this difference here. So this much difference, this portion from here to here, it is positive phase margin. The difference, what angle you will obtain here, you can see that corresponding angle, what it will be coming here, this much angle, it will be phase margin. And if you see here, gain margin means, if you are getting the positive gain margin means, you can see the difference here from here to here. So what is the value obtained here? So this difference you are going to see that, that is called as a positive gain margin. So how we get it? So you need to see the crossover. So you can see that you are going to plot this magnitude plot, and you see that there is a crossover here. Crossover means with respect to the zero axis, you are going to, this line is going to cross. Okay. So this, you are going to have a crossover here. Then from there you have to put some dotted lines, and it will meet at this phase margin at one particular point. So then that point on the axis, and this point 18 minus 180 degree, this difference you call it as the positive phase margin. So to understand the positive phase margin, you have to take from the magnitude plot where it is crossing over, and from there you have to extend the line towards this point, and you have to measure this difference. Now if you want to find the gain margin, it is almost similar to that. Now you have to check the phase plot. So you are going to see the phase plot. You have to see that where is the crossover to the 180 degree axis, that is minus 180 degree crossover is at this point. So what you have to do, you have to put dotted lines towards up. So you'll be drawing the dotted lines towards up. It will be meeting at this point. So the difference between these two things, you call it as the positive gain margin. If it is below to the zero axis, then you call it as a positive gain margin. If it is above to the minus 180 degree, you call it as a positive phase margin. So you have to take this crossover and extend a line towards this magnitude plot. This point which generate, you have to see that what is the difference from here to this point. So that difference is called as the gain margin. So we'll be doing all those things. Now let us see that what is negative gain margin and negative phase margin. So it's same, one and the same. Here if you are going to find out the negative gain margin, so you have the crossover here. At this crossover, after that you have to plot dotted lines towards this point. You get one point here. So corresponding difference from here to here, this is called as the negative gain margin. If it comes above to the zero axis, you call it this negative gain margin. And you can, if you are going for the negative phase phase plot, phase margin, you can see that you have the magnitude plot. Take this crossover, where it crosses over, draw dotted lines towards down, and you can see that the difference which it generates, this much difference, it is called as the negative phase margin. So is that clear for you, that positive gain margin, negative gain margin, positive phase margin and negative phase margin? Is that clear for you? So it's very important for you to understand. Is that clear for all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what here in brief, what I will say in very much brief, what you can understand is where the crossover takes place. From there you draw dotted lines towards the down, and you get the phase margin here. And when you take the phase plot where the crossover takes, from there you draw it upwards, you get the gain margin there. Similarly here also, where the phase plot is there, you put the dotted lines towards the, where the crossover is there. Now this crossover point is what you have to see in both the cases. So both the cases you have to see the crossover point, put the extended dotted lines down there. So this is what you call it as gain margin and phase margin. So gain and phase margin of a stable system, and gain and phase margin of a unstable system. So you can say that if you are getting a negative phase margin or gain margin, you can call it as an unstable system. And if it is a positive gain margin and phase margin, you call it as a stable system. So let us, this is what we have to understand about all this regarding the plot. So let us just go ahead with one problem and try to understand how this can be carried out. So investigate the stability of a negative feedback control system whose open loop transfer function. The open loop transfer function is given as GH of S is equal to 50 divided by S into 0.5S plus 1 into 0.05S plus 1. So you can just see these things. So let us, first step is what you have to do in Bode plot is you have to substitute S is equal to j omega. Substitute S is equal to j omega. So what you will get GH j omega. So refer to that material, whatever it is there with you. You can see that you have to substitute for j omega. So when S is equal to j omega, GH j omega is equal to 50 divided by j omega into 0.5 j omega plus 1, 0.05 j omega plus 1. So this is what you will get it. I have just substituted S is equal to j omega. So what I can take here, as we know that the first term, that is the S term, that is j omega. So what you have to do first is you have to see that the poles and zeros at the origin and all those things what we have studied before, no? So what, in brief, for your better understanding, I'll say that the first term, that is here 50 divided by s, when you substitute j omega, you'll get y of j omega is equal to 50 divided by j omega. Take this point and take modulus of that. When you take modulus of j omega, y of j omega, you'll get it as 50 divided by omega. And when you take the logarithm for that, that is 20 log of y of j omega, you'll get it as 20 log of 50 minus 20 log of omega. So you'll get these terms. This is what the equation you will get. 20 log of y of j omega is equal to 20 log of 50 minus 20 log of omega. So when now we have to assume, so because we know that we are plotting it on the semi-log graph sheet, and let me take you through one of the graph sheet, it will be comfortable. Then we know that we are plotting with the semi-log graph sheet, and we can start the value from 0.1. Okay, you can start it from 0.01 also, but for our convenience we are starting it from 0.1. So 0.1, then it will be 1, 10, 100, like that it will be going further. So let me just take as 0.1 itself. So I am assuming omega is equal to 0.1 starting value of the graph, which I am going to consider. So let me substitute omega here. So 20 log of 0.1 you will get 20 log of 0. When you substitute it, you can simplify that. That is 20 log of 50 minus 20 log of 0.1 you will get. So you can do that. When you complete this one, you will get it as 20 log of y of j omega at omega is equal to 0.1. So we are doing it at omega is equal to 0.1. So I'll substitute omega is equal to 0.1. You'll get it as 54 dB. When you simplify that, we will get the point as 54 dB. What does that indicate? Means when the omega value is 0.1, the value what you're going to get is 54 dB. So that is what you have to understand here. So I will take you to that problem once. See here, when I go back to the plot, so when I go back to the plot, you can see that this point, that is at omega is equal to 0.1, you can put this as 54. I have a good figure for you. So the same figure, see here, 0.1, I have to first put this point 54. So first I will get that point 54. Okay. So that is what we have completed now. Now rest of the points also we need to get. So what we are going to do it for that. So for body magnitude plot, the various factors of GH, J omega are entered in the table. We have to draw a table so that the corner frequencies of the individual factors in the ascending order. This is very important for you to understand. So you need to find out the corner frequencies, and you have to arrange in the table in the ascending order. So you can see here we have one table here where you can see that this is the corner frequency, and this has to be arranged. This you are getting omega as 2, so and omega 2 as 20. So this should be in this format itself. That is very important point in body plot to be understood, that it has to be in the ascending order. So you get the first point. So let me just take that here. So here in this problem, what are the things available? You have 50 by j omega, 1 divided by 1 plus 0.5 j omega, 1 divided by 1 plus 0.05 j omega. You can see here, this I have taken from the problem. You have 50 by j omega, you have 1 divided by 1 plus 0.5 j omega, and 1 divided by 1 plus 0.05 j omega. So I am going to write it, but before writing this in this sequence, I should find out the corner frequency. So I should find out the corner frequency. So what is that? omega value. So I have to find out the omega value and see that whether it is in the ascending order. So here when I calculate the omega value, I'll get it as 1 divided by 0.5. Here I'll get it as 1 divided by 0.05. So when I calculate it, I can see that this term has to come first and then this has to come. So it is in the ascending order itself. So omega value is 2 and omega value is 20. So this is in the ascending order itself. So no need to worry about that. So it is correct. Okay. This point is very important. If you don't follow this, no, your graph will go wrong. So you have to find out the corner frequency. So here the corner frequency, you'll get it as 1 divided by 0.5. So that is 2, and 1 divided by 0.05, that is 20. So this term has to come before this term. So that is what you have to write it properly. Now first thing, you have to draw this table, and you have factor, corner frequency, magnitude and slope. So you have to go with this factor, corner frequency and magnitude and slope. So this is the magnitude. So what you get here, 50 by j omega, you got it as 54 dB just before we have done it. So just now we have done, you get it as 54 dB. So what you have to first fill this table and then go for the plot. Okay. So this is the magnitude is equal to 54 dB. When you got this 54 dB, when omega value is 0.1. So you know that omega value is 0.1. So when omega is 0.1, you got it as 54 dB. And the slope you have to consider, that is minus 20 dB per decade, because the coefficient of log omega. So here you can see that the coefficient of log omega, you have to take it as minus 20 dB per decade. So till this I will take you to that figure. See here, you start with 54 and the slope will be minus 20 dB per decade, till where it has to end. So how to get this point? So how to get this point is what you have to see here. So how to get that point? It is through the finding out the corner frequency, or next corner frequency, that is omega 1. So what is the next corner frequency? That is 1 divided by 0.5, you will get it as 2. So since you get it as 2, your slope should be minus 20 dB until 2. So you can see that the slope goes as minus 20 dB until this corner frequency 2. So this is the point where you get it until that. So this you have to I will come to the plot later. So you need to draw all this, you need to find out all these values and then go ahead with the plot. So next you have to see that the next one, the next slope between omega 1 and omega 2, what you have to do is you have to add so here you can see 1 plus 0.5 j omega inverse you are getting, no? So here the omega value is greater than omega 1. So what you have to, how to calculate the slope you will be having is minus 20 dB is the slope, and you have to add with the previous slope as well. So you will get the previous slope is equal to minus 20, it will come as 40 dB per decade. Just go through this, we will discuss this problem once again in the next class. So what you will get further is the next slope omega 2. So this has to continue till the next corner frequency, that is 20. So when you see the Bode plot, you can see that it is going to continue till the next point. Okay. So until that it will be continuing with a slope of minus 40 dB per decade. Further you have to complete the table. One more term is there, that is 1 by 1 plus 0.05 j omega. So for doing that, the next slope omega 2 slope contributes by this term, that is 1 plus 0.05 j omega, you will get it as omega greater than omega 2 plus previous slope. So what is previous slope? Previous slope is minus 40 dB. So for this, since it is in the denominator, you will have minus 20 dB. So minus 20 dB slope and plus the previous slope, that is minus 40 dB, you get it as minus 60 dB per decade. So you have to do that and plot it in the graph with minus 60 dB decade. So there is no, we don't know till where it will be going. So with the 60 dB slope, you have to draw a straight line. That's all. Okay. That's what you have to do. We will get back to this table again. I want all of you to go through this problem before I come back tomorrow with this table again. So go through this problem and plot this one for the magnitude plot. Okay, I have already made you clear these things. You can just plot this in the magnitude plot. So so with this, we will wind up for today, and we will continue with the same problem in the upcoming class. Before that, make an attempt to solve it and complete this problem and find out whether you are comfortable with that. So you have to solve this problem by the next class. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Any doubts are there, you can discuss upon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.